All right, we're back again. We're going to be interviewing a guy that I've known for years, James Daughtry, but
Yeah,
I'll always call him Chris Daughtry because
yeah,
he was Chris
yeah.
back in the day. Chris, man, thank you so much for taking time and interviewing here with me. It's Truck Driver Appreciation Week, and man, I just want you to know how much I appreciate you keeping this country moving, man.
Yeah,
Um,
I enjoy it, dude.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Let me ask you, how long you been driving?
About 3 years now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
And so you have a Werner shirt on, so you're with Werner, right? And
of
so is
course.
that your first truck driving job?
Yes, it is actually. hmm
Wow. So man, like I talked to, well, you're a new driver, but we've talked to people that have been driving for like 25 years and have drove for
hmm
like 7, 8 different companies.
Oh
And
yeah,
yeah, I mean, Werner is a pretty good company to drive for. Yeah.
yeah. I haven't really had no issue. I love working for here. Yeah, I've got plenty of other offers all the
Yeah.
time,
Oh, I bet you do, man.
but
Everybody's trying to get drivers, man.
yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
Well, let me ask
But
you what
once you
kind of,
find a good company, I mean, I like to stick with it.
yeah. Well, so what kind of cargo do you haul? I mean, do you have like a particular like division you're with or a particular type of cargo?
Well, I'm usually on a Target account.
Okay.
But for right now, it's been a little slow in our account, so we do a secondary run. So it's a little bit of everything.
Got it. So you're part of their dedicated division,
Yeah,
yes?
yeah.
Okay, got it. All right, cool. Um, so you've been driving for 3 years. So like what are some of the cool things that you've been able to pull and haul around?
Um, I remember hauling a truckload of tequila from the Mexican border and running it up into New York. Remember that one for sure.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah. A lot of times I don't get to see what's in there.
Yeah.
Um, but because they seal it,
Yeah.
and I have no idea. And then my paperwork is basically coded, so a lot of times you don't get to see what's in there.
So let me ask you, why did you get into trucking?
Um, I love traveling around, and I just figured, hey, I love traveling, and there can be some decent money in it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, what's your favorite thing about trucking?
Pretty much traveling all the
Yeah.
time,
I
getting to
figured
see something different.
that was a layup. Um,
Yeah.
so what kind of truck do you drive currently?
Currently, I drive a 22 International LT.
Okay, got it. That's like I know more about some of the trucks from the 80s and 90s more than I do the modern trucks
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
grew up in trucking with my daddy driving, and so like I'm really focused on the trucks of that era. But I hear that the internationals, the LTs, and the Pro Stars are some of the most comfortable trucks for drivers. Is that
Oh
true?
yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're aero cabs, and yeah, they do pretty good.
Good. So have you driven that same truck this whole time or that model truck?
That model of truck is changed year make and models. I mean years, um, because have issues with a truck, and they just put you in another truck, and
Yeah,
instead of sitting there waiting on it to be fixed, they'll issue
right.
another truck and move on.
Nice. Let me ask you, what's your favorite? So since you like traveling and that's why you got into trucking, you've got to have a favorite part of the country. What's your favorite part of the country?
Well, I'm usually running southeast coast. Um, the Georgia area is pretty unique. Um, and I like Virginia and stuff. Um,
Yeah,
I usually run from Virginia down to Florida.
got it.
So
Got it. So you're going from like a target distribution center to another target distribution center, something like that?
I go from basically a port to a DC.
Got it. Okay. Cool. Well, let me ask you, what's the craziest thing you've seen out on the road? So I'm going to ask you two questions. One is, what's the craziest thing you've seen on the road? And then the craziest thing you've seen off the road. But what's the craziest thing you've seen on the road?
Craziest thing I've seen on the road. Um, I've seen a car cut off a 18 wheeler before, and he clipped them, and he was outdoor out in front of me. He cut him so close that he clipped him with his rear bumper and clipped the front bumper, and the car turned sideways in front of the truck, and the truck just pushed it until he could get stopped. He pushed it on the side. That was
Road
pretty
speed,
crazy.
like 60 plus
Oh
miles an
yeah,
hour? Wow.
yeah. Well, we're on the interstate,
Yeah.
and so they were probably bumping around 70, and yeah, turned that car sideways. I know they went for a ride.
Oh, you know they did, man. Dang. What's the craziest thing you've seen off the road? I mean, like truck stops, DCs, the ports, dangerous places.
You know, they all are kind of unique. I don't know of anything that stands out. It, they're all pretty much set up the same.
Yeah.
Nothing really crazy goes on in the ports and stuff like that. They
Yeah.
got enough security for that.
I was talking with my buddy yesterday, and he said that he had a guy approach him wanting to like break $100 bill, and he started pulling his money out, getting his 20s ready, and he realized he was about to be robbed. And he kind of talked him off the ledge and walked him in the store and bought him. He was going to rob because he didn't have any money, so he went and bought him some groceries and sent him on about his way. I'm sure as I interview drivers, I'm gonna hear some craziness.
Oh yeah. I mean, well, I don't carry any cash, and always somebody trying to come up to you wanting you to send them cash.
Oh yeah.
Or give them some cash, and I haven't seen cash in many a months.
So, you said you haven't really seen a whole lot of bad things. One of the other questions I want to ask is, have you had a situation where you were super scared, like on the road? I mean, because you're driving in all kinds of weather conditions. So, have you ever been in a situation where you were like, man, that was close?
Yeah, especially on very bad thunderstorms with a lot of wind. That can get pretty scary because it's pushing you all
You
over the
can feel
place.
it. You can feel it,
Oh,
swaying.
oh yeah. Well, it's worse on you when the trailer's empty versus loaded, because the
Right.
loaded's holding you a little steady.
Right.
Versus empty. A little bit of wind can blow you all over the place.
I bet so.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, what's your top problem as a driver on the road?
Getting parked.
I knew it. I knew it. I almost wanted to say, is it parking? I know it is, man, because if you run out of hours because you hit a wreck, there's a wreck and you lose an hour of drive time, you had just enough time to make it to that port, and then you got to find somewhere to park your truck. You can't just pull the thing outside the interstate. And, you can't just pull it off on any random exit, man.
No, you don't need to be parking on, off or on ramps, which they do because, I mean, basically you run out of somewhere to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, parking is tough, man. It's very hard. You might have to go to 3 or 4 different truck stops just to find somewhere to park. You might end up having to pay for parking.
How do you do that? Like, so this really wasn't part of I just want to know what your number one problem is, but I'm very intrigued by this. So when you run out of time, you're like, man, I got to find somewhere to park. How do you determine what's available?
I do a search on truck stops, and then a lot of times I do a satellite image to look and see, how big it is if it doesn't, list it.
Right.
And it's according to what time and how big the place is and where it's at,
right,
how busy it's going to
well,
be.
You've been doing this long enough that you kind of have like a series of calculations there in your brain. You're like, let me look and see if it's available. Let me look and see how big it is. Well, it's this time of the day because you've been there, done that before. Wow. So let me ask you this. What is the most important thing for you as a driver? Right? Like, what do you feel is the most important? Now, we know your biggest problem is truck parking. Now, what is the most important thing to you? And it could be anything, James. I mean, Chris.
um, Basically safety, man. Safety. Keep everything checked. Keep it, keep everything safe. Tires, any kind of issues we have with the trailer, the truck, getting them problems fixed.
Got it. So proper DVIRs pre and post,
Yeah.
and making sure if there's a problem, getting her taken care of quick.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Got it. Well, let me ask you this. What can fleets, and I'm not singling Werner out here, but that's your experience. But
Yeah.
what can fleets do to make drivers' lives on the road better?
Mainly just communication. Um, that's the big part of it. Just communicating.
Got it.
That can become an issue sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good. You want to know what's interesting is that's what Bobby said yesterday. Same exact word. He drives for Prestige, and I mean, where we grew up. I mean, he drives for Prestige and hauls pigs to Iowa. And you never know what people are going to say when you ask that question. But he said the same exact thing: communication.
Yeah, it's communication, man.
Well, good deal, man. Well, I want to thank you, Chris, seriously, James. I mean, you always be Chris to me. But thank you, James, for taking time to talk to me, man. And I mean, I really mean this, man. Thank you for keeping this country moving, brother. I mean, people just don't know,
Thank you, bud.
I mean, we're one of my missions is to do this as much as I can to get driver stories out there and listen to some of the suggestions and some of the issues so that we can go to the fleets and have something on display for the public to make drivers' lives better, because y'all deserve it, man. So
well, appreciate it, bud.
All right, man. Appreciate you, buddy. Take care. See ya. Be safe out there. Take care.
You too, bud.
All right, bye now.
Bye.